Yo, what's up, guys? I'm about to go to the gym, and I just drafted a fantasy football team. I'll put the roster up over here on the side of the screen. But I have a little hack, and I got this from a guy that I found on YouTube that has won several of these best ball competitions. Now, over the last several years, I haven't gotten to put down as much money as I want to in best ball, but this year, I'm investing a lot of money into sports betting, season-long win totals, season-long futures in football, and also best ball drafts in the summer. I just hit a big parlay and a lot of parlays actually in UFC. So I have about $60,000 to put in. I'm gonna also wire 200 grand for the futures bets. So altogether, I'll have invested around $300,000 in football this season. So if you're looking for somebody that does this professionally, that you want to learn from, this is the channel for you. No BS, no gimmicks, no sleazy sales tactics. I do sell VIP picks, but I'm super honest, super transparent, super raw. Don't really edit my videos much. Now, best ball drafts are interesting because you're basically drafting a lotto ticket, and you're drafting a team that you're hoping is the perfect team of tens of thousands of entries. There's so much competition out there. So a lot of times people focus on how do I draft the best team, which is an important part of it. You do want to draft the best team possible, but even more importantly than that, you need to draft a unique team. Ideally, you're going to get into the playoffs, okay? When you're in the playoffs, you need to have a team that the other humans that you're up against don't have, okay? So last year, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry were league winners, okay? Anybody who had Saquon and Derrick Henry probably was in the postseason. Meaning if Saquon and Derrick Henry went off, that's cool. But who else do you have? All right? And this year, which I'll reference this year because I'm more familiar with the ADPs. I've kind of forgotten the ADPs from last year. But this year, let's say that you draft Saquon Barkley. You literally cannot get a team with Saquon and Derrick Henry because Saquon goes 1 or 2 overall and Derrick Henry goes 13. If you have the first or second draft pick, you're never going to get a guy whose ADP is top 15, right? Because your second pick is the 24th pick and your third pick is the 25th pick, okay? So if you were to somehow actually get Saquon and Derrick Henry on the same team, you'd probably be one of the only dudes with those two players on the same team. You see what I'm getting at? And if they both went off, you would have a really good chance at winning $1 million. Now, what can we do? Of course, you can't just magically get the league mates in your group to not draft players so that they fall to you. Well, what we can do, what's in our control, is instead of just picking the top ADP, like the top guy suggested, you can actually reach for players, forcing a unique build. Here's the key to doing this. You want to draft 3 players with ADP very close. So you want to get 3 players on your roster that are bunched in ADP. Now, if you're drafting 3 players where their ADP is like 159, 160, 161, that's not really going to work because the players getting drafted at the end of the draft move the ADP shift so much. You're going to want to get guys that their ADP maybe is 29, 31, 32. You see on the screenshot over here, what I've done is I took Malik Neighbors with my first pick. That's a normal pick. Malik Neighbors usually goes in the second half of the first round. People who pick in the second half of the first round usually then will pick somebody in the second round, such as Brock Bowers, Derrick Henry's in there, Drake London, right? Drake London would have been the guy that I should have picked here if I was picking the best team. But I did something crazy. I picked Tyreek Hill, whose ADP is like 27 or something like that. And I set it up pretty nicely because the players that I picked next with my third and fourth pick, their ADP was very close to Tyreek Hill. So I would venture to say I'm one of the only people on the planet who has the top 4 picks that I picked on one team, okay? It's extremely uncommon to have Malik Neighbors, Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Terry McLaurin, okay? Those 4 players, that unique combination is extremely rare. It's specifically extremely rare to have the 3 that are bunched together. Hill, Terry, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Those 3. Because their ADP is so close, typically people will only get 2 of the 3. So if I do get this team to the end, this is just one team. I'm drafting hundreds of teams. But if I do get this team to the final group, right, and all 3 of those players go off, let's say they're the top 3 receivers. That's possible in a week. They're capable. They're capable of all being top 15 receivers on the season. If I have all 3 of them, I can almost guarantee you no other team will have that unique combination. So I'm putting myself in a position to win, which is the key to all of this. Now, had I drafted Drake London, my team would have been better. Drake London is definitely projected to be a better receiver than Tyreek Hill. But Tyreek Hill is more than capable of being a better receiver than Drake London. And most importantly, the uniqueness is more valuable to me than having just the best team on paper. I know that by drafting the guys that I draft, the later rounds of the draft, my team can finish top 2 in the league. I can still get to the postseason, even sacrificing my second round pick. Is it a dumb pick to get Tyreek Hill second round? On the surface, yes. He's not a second round player. But because I'm setting it up to bunch 3 receivers where their ADP is extremely close, the uniqueness of my best ball team now gives me a massive advantage, okay? So I recommend doing this with your first 5 rounds. So my goal the first 5 rounds is not necessarily to fall in love with anybody, because the truth is the first 60 players in the rankings, which is who you're drafting the first 5 rounds, any of those 60 players could be league winners. Any of them could be the MVP of fantasy football this year and be a top player. What you really want to do is you want to do weird shit that other people are scared to, and set your team up to where you have really unique builds, okay? So round 1, I'm typically drafting whoever I like the most. But then round 2 is kind of where I get real wild with it. And I've been setting myself up a lot round 2, 3, and 4 to get guys that are bunched. Now, what you could do is you could take it one step further, especially if there's guys that you like in the round 4 and 5 range. And you could just say F it. And with your round 2 pick, go for a guy like George Kittle, right? ADP of 40. And then with your round 3 pick, go for a guy whose ADP is also around 40. And then 4 and 5, same thing. Because then you can bunch 4 guys up that are really close in ADP. I guess that would probably work better if you targeted the guys that their ADP is like 50 to 55. Because if you get 4 of those guys, it can get really wild. The name of the game in best ball always is to hit on your later round picks. So if you're getting guys like Jack Betch, you're getting guys like Thornton on the Raiders, Pat Bryant, rookie on the Broncos, and you do hit guys like that. Taj Brooks, running back on the Bengals. These are all rookies that I'm naming, but the sleepers are really all rookies. If you draft any of those guys like Isaac Guerendo and CMC gets hurt, and you're doing this weird shit the first 5 rounds, one of those guys filling in and one of those guys hitting late will make it so that you can still win your league. And then if you win your league and you advance to the playoffs and you have some like crazy unique shit, you're basically set. Like, your entry is worth so much more than the other entries that just drafted based on ADP. And I know not everybody drafts perfectly on ADP, but I'm telling you to like literally draft like a madman, like a crazy man. Now, don't just go like no pattern at all to it. Make sure you bunch the ADP. So if you're going to sacrifice your round 2 and round 3 picks, make sure that you're drafting guys round 2 and 3 that are really close in ADP to guys that you're going to draft around 4 and 5 and just bunch them all together. Because most people draft in fantasy, they'll draft a guy that's ADP 9, then ADP 15, then ADP 29, then ADP 35, then ADP 52, then ADP 59, right? So they'll just follow their draft picks. But if you draft a guy that's like ADP 9, then ADP 50, then 51, then 52, then 53, having those guys in there, like the guys that are ADP 50 to 55 right now, is like Cortland Sutton, George Pickens, right? I'm kind of going blank with who specifically is right in that little section. Tet McMillan. So like if you get 4 of those guys, so I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to mess with it. It's a lot easier to do this on cheaper teams, like the $20 entries for me. Basically, like doesn't even make a dent in my account, so it's easy. But what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do this crazy stuff on the higher ticket entries, like the $500 ones, because nobody has the balls to do this stuff. And just like everything in life, if you have the balls to do something that other people don't, you will be rewarded. So in best ball, if you have the balls to draft like a madman like this, you will be rewarded. So that's all I've got for you guys in today's video. This is probably the best ball tutorial on the internet, and I have no clue what to title it. But if you're watching, congrats. If you need to set up an account, go to DraftKings Fantasy app, use promo code Lambo, and when you do a $20 entry into their best ball contest, it's buy one get one free. So you do one $20 entry, you get 2. Use promo code Lambo for that. It really helps me out. It helps me look good to DraftKings. They hooked me up with the promo code. So that's all I've got. Have a good day, everybody. Peace out.